Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.
Greetings, awesome people, and welcome to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic, your host, and we're going to be going over several things that are happening in the world of politics, firearms, and safety today. Well, some of the big news that happened this past week is Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois is not seeking re-election. He is going to be retiring. Some people are celebrating that. I know, withheld military support or arms support to Israel, saying that the people in Gaza are innocent and Israel's committing genocide, and I really didn't like that. Neither did the Jewish community. So I am not one that is sad to see him go. I wish him the best in retirement. I hope he lives a long, fruitful life, but not in public service, at least to the people of Illinois. With that said, there is also, and so he's on the federal level, he's also the Democratic minority whip, that kind of means enforcer, and he's one of the longest people who's been serving in Congress. So, I wish him well. Let's vote in someone else who is more friendly to safety. In Illinois, there is a state bill that mandates all firearms in a home need to be secured. That proposal or that bill creates the Safe Gun Storage Act, provides that a firearm owner shall not store or keep a firearm in any premises where the firearm owner knows or reasonably should know about a minor without lawful permission of the minor's parent, guardian, or person having charge of the minor, an at-risk person, or a prohibited person is likely to gain access to the firearm unless the firearm is secured in a locked container, properly engaged so as to render the firearm inaccessible or unusable to any person other than the owner or other lawfully authorized user. Provides that if the firearm is carried or by or under the control of the owner other than the lawful authorized user, then the firearm is deemed lawfully stored or kept. Provides that a violation of the act is subject to a civil penalty not to exceed $500, except if any person knows or reasonably should know that a minor, an at-risk person, or a prohibited person is likely to gain access to a firearm belonging to or under the control of that person, and a minor or at-risk person or a prohibited person obtains a firearm, the civil penalty shall not exceed $1,000, and if a minor, an at-risk person, or prohibited person obtains a firearm and uses it to injure or cause the death of a person or uses the firearm in connection with a crime, the civil penalty shall not exceed $10,000. Provides that the court may order a person who is found in violation of the act to perform community service or pay restitution in lieu of the civil penalties imposed under this section if good cause is shown. Provides that nothing in the act shall be construed to preclude civil liabilities for violations of the act. Provides that a violation of the act is prima facie evidence of negligence per se in any civil proceeding if a minor, at-risk person, or prohibited person obtains a firearm and causes personal injury to the death of oneself or another, or uses the firearm in the commission of a crime. Provides that an action to collect a civil penalty under the act may be brought by the Attorney General or State's Attorney of the county in which the violation occurred. Provides that any money received from the collection of a civil penalty under this act shall be deposited in the Mental Health Reporting Fund. amends various acts to make the changes effective January 1st, 2026. I think it's very important to note that this is a bill. It is not a law. A bill is a proposed law that has to be approved by both chambers and then sent to the governor for approval. I'm not sure how I feel about this. How do you feel about this? Write in. My electronic business card is marcusmelnick.com. That is marcusmelnick.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'm about to share mine. Before I do, according to the Illinois Democrat website, they're saying for far too long, unsecured firearms in homes have led to devastating and preventable tragedies, especially among children and teenagers. In response to this ongoing crisis, State Senator Laura Ellman is championing a critical public safety measure to strengthen gun storage standards in Illinois, ensuring firearms are securely stored and kept out of the hands of minors and at-risk individuals. Senate Bill 8, which passed the Senate this past Thursday, would strengthen Illinois' safe storage laws and expand protections to help keep guns out of the hands of children, at-risk individuals, and criminals. Quote, "For far too long, we have witnessed the tragic consequences of unsecured firearms in homes," end quote, said Ellman, a Democrat from Naperville. She went on to say, "Firearms, if left unaccounted for and unsecured, pose risks to those who should not have access to them. Firearm owners can help prevent gun-related incidents by ensuring their guns are secured and stored away from others." Studies show that unsecured firearms, along with lost or stolen guns, are major contributors to suicides, unintentional shootings, mass shootings, and escalating crime. Nearly 54% of gun owners do not securely lock all their firearms, and in 3/4 of school shootings, the shooter obtained the firearm from a parent or relative. Alarmingly, 82% of adolescent firearm suicides involved a gun that belonged to a family member. Now, I'm going to take apart these statistics. I don't know where they got 54% of gun owners don't lock up their guns. I have no idea. There's not cited. It could be a made-up statistic. Next, in 3/4 of school shootings, the shooter obtained the firearm from a parent or relative. No kidding. I'm going to explain why that is just the Captain Obvious statement. And then 82% of adolescent firearm suicides involve a gun that belonged to a family member. No kidding. So let's put our thinking caps on and look at this critically. If someone under the age of 21 cannot legally purchase a handgun, in some states it's also a long gun, in some states at age 18 you can purchase a long gun, they would have to belong to a family member because the teens can't buy guns legally. No kidding. Currently, Illinois law only requires gun owners to secure their firearms if a child under the age of 14 is present. Senate Bill 8 would expand this requirement to include any minor, regardless of age, ensuring that if a firearm owner knows a child may access the firearm, it must be securely stored in a locked container. Ellman also said, unfortunately, children and teens are most at risk of injury or death because of unsecured guns, and Illinois has seen over 1,700 gun-related deaths due to firearms not being locked away. She also went on to say this measure addresses these risks and rising number of gun-related deaths and injuries by strengthening Illinois storage safety standards. In addition to addressing gun storage, the legislation highlights the broader issue of lost and stolen firearms. An estimated 380,000 firearms are stolen each year from legal gun owners in the United States, many of which are funneled into illegal markets and used in crimes. Lost firearms are 3 times more likely to be used in a crime, while stolen guns are 9 times more likely to be involved in criminal activity. Illinois now has the opportunity to take a significant step toward curbing these outcomes. States that have adopted secure firearm storage have seen up to a 78% decrease in unintentional shootings by children. Similarly, states with lost and stolen firearm reporting requirements have experienced a 46% reduction in illegal gun trafficking. Ellman also said SB8 represents a critical step in making Illinois safer. By strengthening our state's gun laws, we can both promote responsible gun ownership and protect our communities from unnecessary harm. So here's my take on this. I have mixed feelings. In my classes, I advocate and insist and hope and recommend that people lock up their guns in a safe. Now, sometimes I'll get a student that'll say, yeah, but that defeats the purpose. What happens if somebody breaks in and I'm sitting there with a dial and my hands are shaking? And there are quick release safes. There are biometric safes. There are safes where you have a bracelet on, it's Bluetooth, you wave it over the safe and the door pops open. So that kind of defeats that argument. I also sometimes people will say, well, I don't have any children in my house. No kidding. Do you have a toilet? And everyone has a toilet except for Governor Pritzker. That was a little joke, guys. So everyone has a toilet. Well, what if you have to call a plumber who's got to come on a Saturday to unclog your toilet, and he doesn't have childcare for his very curious 8-year-old little boy who finds your gun, plays with it, because kids will play with the things they find, and it discharges. So I really, really strongly urge people to lock up their guns in their home. I have mixed feelings about legislating responsibility. I just think it might be a little bit of government overreach. I don't know. Now, on the other hand, within my lifetime, there was a time where we did not have to wear seatbelts. The seatbelt law came into effect, and certainly it saved lives. So I'm all about saving lives. The bill in and of itself is not really anti-gun. It's more pro-safety, which is why I'm not vehemently opposed to it. Very interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send in a comment via my electronic business card at marcusmelnick.com. Did you know that there is a free firearm cleaning lesson available to you? It's valued at $100. All you have to do is either take 2 lessons with Firearm Mentor or a concealed carry class, and you will have a free firearm cleaning lesson where you will have to take apart your firearm, but you don't have to do it by yourself. I will show you how to take apart your specific firearm, because they all take apart a little differently. Some of them take apart like a Glock. You got to pinch and pull down those 2 little levers. Some you have to squeeze the trigger before you before you disassemble the gun. And some you need a wrench, like a 1911. Wow, I worked on one of those a couple weeks ago. What a pain in the tuchus. If you're interested in buying a 1911, I highly, highly recommend that you get one with a bull barrel. The bull barrel ones are extremely easy to disassemble. The traditional ones, I had a hard time with it. So, let's talk about some stuff on the federal level next. And the Illinois State Rifle Association is inviting the Department of Justice investigation into delayed gun permits. So ISRA, or the Illinois State Rifle Association, is very eager to assist the DOJ with their federal investigations into state and local municipalities for violating the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. For example, in Los Angeles County, California, law-abiding citizens are facing 18-month delays for their concealed carry licenses. And as the DOJ is arguing, this is a violation of Second Amendment rights. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi issued a stern warning to any state that, quote, infringes, end quote, on our 2A rights. She also wrote, this Department of Justice will not stand idly by while states and localities infringe on Second Amendment rights of ordinary, law-abiding Americans. The Second Amendment is not a second-class right, and under my watch, the Department will actively enforce the Second Amendment, just like it actively enforces other fundamental constitutional rights. The Illinois State Rifle Association says, "We welcome Attorney General Pam Bondi and her Justice Department here in Illinois, and as always, we're happy to help." Hopefully we'll get some relief. I really think it's a good thing that the DOJ actually has. Now we have checks and balances. Now some people will say, "Oh, Trump's a dictator. We don't have checks and balances." I also heard on the liberal side that April 20th, Trump's going to declare martial law, an emergency at the border. He's going to deploy troops through cities throughout. That never happened. Come on, guys. Stop fear-mongering, look at the facts, and then go from there. I'm going to segue back to, it's not really segueing back because we're talking about the Illinois State Rifle Association, but there is the Illinois Gun Owner Lobby Day called IGOLD, and it's not just an event, it's a gathering of like-minded individuals who share a common goal. The Illinois State Rifle Association is really encouraging women to go to this event. For women, the event transcends mere political activism. It can become a testament to empowerment, safety, and community. Women's participation in IGOLD reflects not only their commitment to constitutional rights, but also their dedication to personal security and collective solidarity. One of the most profound aspects of IGOLD is the sense of empowerment it fosters. In a society where women's voices in gun ownership discussions are often marginalized, IGOLD provides a platform for women to stand up and be heard. It is an opportunity to advocate for their right to protect themselves and their families. By participating in this event, women challenge stereotypes and assert their agency in this legislative arena, a place where their perspectives are crucial, yet frequently overlooked. IGOLD is going to happen very, very soon on May 14th. So if you're interested in going, I would highly suggest you look up ISRA, ISRA, and that website is isra.org/IGOLD. Or you can contact your local gun store. And typically there are buses that'll go down. You might have to pay $10 as opposed to driving. I did go to IGOLD a number of years ago. And at the time, I had a state senator and a state representative. I don't remember who was who, but one of them wasn't available on IGOLD Day. Come on, you're burying your head in the sand. The other one actually spoke with us and was very kind and very nice and listened, and it didn't change anything. So IGOLD doors open at 10 a.m. at the Bank of Springfield Center on May 14th. Everyone's going to be driving down. And basically it's a sea of yellow shirts, gold shirts that march for about a mile to the state capitol, and then they meet with their elected officials. Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman is an internationally recognized scholar, author, soldier, and speaker, and he is the special guest for IGOLD. So you may be able to get to meet him or hear him speak. This is a great event if you are on the political activism side of the Second Amendment. I am on the education side of the Second Amendment. So my role, I don't do the lawsuits. I don't do the let's go downstate. That's just me. That's personal. But I'm a big believer that firearms exist in society. Not a believer, that's a fact. Firearms exist in society, and projectile weapons have predated humanity. Therefore, I am the guy that tells people in class you should lock up your guns, although I'm not really sure about legislating that rule. Next up, let's talk about some cases that are occurring in the court system. The Illinois State Rifle Association files a response brief in a mass transit concealed carry weapons case appeal. The ISRA has filed a brief in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals for consolidating cases of Schoenthal et al. Versus Raoul and Schoenthal et al. Versus Eileen O'Neill Burke. Eileen O'Neill Burke is the recently elected Cook County State's Attorney, replacing Kimberly Fox as a named defendant. The case deals with the rights of concealed carry license holder to carry on public transportation. The case is now in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals after a win for the plaintiffs Schoenthal et al. And U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, Western Division, last August. Basically, for the 4 people that were involved in the lawsuit, they are now allowed to carry on public transportation. The Illinois State Rifle Association is issuing an appeal so that it can be adapted or adopted throughout the state. The ISRA looks forward to a favorable verdict by the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and they expect the case to eventually be heard by the United States Supreme Court. Very interesting development. I believe that is where we need to carry firearms. I hope you would believe me as well. We're going to take a brief break.
I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRESS, 2LOGIC.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show.
I'd like to also remind the viewers of some public events that are coming up where you can actually see us. You can interact with us. You can see us. We can talk to you. One of those events is on May 7th. It is the Hunger Resource Network annual luncheon and fundraiser. The speaker there is going to be Brett Novoselsky, who was formerly a Chicago Bear and formerly a Minnesota Viking. I actually went to the same high school as him. I knew his brother. Not well. I mean, I knew who his brother was, but the whole family is very, very athletic. This organization provides proteins for various food pantries, usually in the form of chicken, but not necessarily. And it's just a fantastic organization. That's coming up on May 7th. If you would like information about the event, please reach out to me. Again, electronic business card, which is my name, Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. So that's the May event that I will be at. There is also an event in June with the Northbrook Chamber of Commerce. It is the annual VIP golf outing and barbecue. And it is going to be at Heritage Oaks Golf Club in Northbrook on Monday, June 9th from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. It's a full day of charity, fun, food, and competition at the annual golf fundraiser. Start the day of play with a Bloody Mary bar breakfast, snacks, drinks, and contests on the course. End the day with a patio barbecue, raffle, and awards. Early bird rates end May 9th. Do not miss the branding if you want to sign up. And here are some of the prices. A Green Jacket team is $1,700. It includes a foursome, 4 raffles, 10 mulligans, and whole sponsorship. This is for Elite Team Bundle is $1,300. Includes some foursome, 4 raffles, 10 mulligans, a foursome is $1,000, and an individual golfer is $275. You could be this year's $10,000 hole-in-one contest winner. Your 50/50 raffle tickets support Evans Scholars. Sign up today. You can go to northbrookchamber.org. That is NORTHBROOK, chamber, CHAMBER.org. I'll be at hole 9 with a table. I'll be handing out golf ball brushes as my swag. And hopefully, if you're a golfer, you can participate. Last Wednesday of July, I will be at the Northbrook Farmers Market with a table with the Northbrook Chamber of Commerce. And I just applied to be, I don't know if I'm going to get it, a vendor at this year's Chicago Jewish Festival. Typically, it's every other year, and it was not done the last couple of years because there was a lot of anti-Semitism towards Jews. That's what anti-Semitism is. But this year, it's going to be June 8th from 11 to 5. Ton of performers, including the Maxwell Street Klezmer Band and several others. This has been going on since 1980, and it's biennially, every other year, to celebrate Jewish culture and share it joyously and proudly with others. So hopefully if they accept me, and in business I don't always get accepted really quickly because of what I do, but I hope to have a table there. I submitted the application. If you're there, stop by, see me, say hello. I would love to interact with you. And the next part of our show, we're going to be talking about some new products, which I think are very exciting, specifically 2 new handguns. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.